Ladies and gentlemen, the Dallas Cowboys just received some really good news by way of a major contract extension with one of the pivotal pieces within the organization. Let's get right into this and be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content on the radio. You can see here, John Machota is reporting that Cowboys have agreed to a multi-year contract extension with VP of Player Personnel, Will McClay. He's been a huge part of the team's draft success, which has included landing star players like Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons. And those three players aren't the only skins on the wall that Will McClay has. And I'm going to be quite honest, this is really good news for Cowboys fans. With the main reason being is I think Will McClay may be our last semblance of hope within that front office, because without Will McClay there, guess what? It is a full-blown family operation consisting of Jerry and Jerry Jones Jr. and Stephen Jones as it pertains to decisions being made within this organization, along with the help of Charlotte and some of the others in that family. But for the most part, Will McClay is probably the only thing keeping most Cowboys fans sane, pretty much. And now we don't have to worry because his contract was up this season, but the Cowboys have agreed on a multi-year contract extension. Now, this should honestly come as no surprise because Will McClay was heavily involved in the process of bringing Brian Schottenheimer in as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Yet another reason I say, if you like Will McClay, then you have to like the Brian Schottenheimer hire as well, right? But Will McClay had a pretty large part in that, as well as he was essentially vetting Brian Schottenheimer for the Joneses. Now, I know what fans are going to say. It's been a couple of seasons since it really felt like we had like a home run hitting type of draft. Probably since the Micah Parsons draft, if we're being completely honest. But hey man, players mess up too. I wanted to take a real quick look at Will McClay's draft history, just pretty much since Dak has been here, to really see how good of a job he's done with these players that he's actually picked up, just to add more context to you guys as far as how important this particular pickup was. Now, in 2024, let's be completely honest, we may have had about 3 difference makers out of that draft as far as guys that contributed immediately. You got Marshawn Kneeland in the second, Cooper Beebe in the third, and Maris Leofau in the third round as well. Tyler Guyton had some struggles. The jury is still out on him. I think he still is in danger of being looked at as a bust, at least by Dallas Cowboys fans. I think he's a left tackle. He was converted from right tackle. We got to give him some time to really convert. But if you look at this draft, he hit on 3 out of 7 of the draft picks here, at least in the first season. Even though Marshawn Kneeland got hurt, he was still going to end up being a damn good NFL player. You can see it. He flashed multiple times throughout the season. Cooper Beebe is likely going to end up being our starting center for the foreseeable future. You get him in the third round. And then Maris Leofau, I would not be surprised if he ends up being a Pro Bowler one day, or even maybe an All-Pro if he really develops under a guy like an Eberflus, who's like a linebacker guru. So you hit on 3 out of 7 of your picks in a draft that most considered a weak draft for the Cowboys in 2024. Then we go to 2023 and we pick up a guy like a DeMarvion Overshown. Now, as of today, DeMarvion Overshown is the only guy from this draft that looks like he's going to be a long-term difference maker for the Cowboys. Mozzie Smith did start to pick it up a little bit towards the end of this season, but as of right now, the 2023 draft is probably looking like one of the weaker drafts for Will McClay. But then we get to 2022, man, and we're cooking here. Will McClay is at the helm of picking a Tyler Smith in round 1, Sam Williams in round 2, Jalen Tolbert round 3, Jake Ferguson round 4, Deron Bland round 5. And that is an extremely high hit rate because majority of these guys that was listed on this 2022 draft, majority of these guys was actually contributors for this team. They were either starters or they played a pretty heavy role for the Cowboys. Even a Damone Clark, even though we know he's been sentenced to the shadow realm since then, even Damone Clark was a heavy contributor for this team. So that right there was an excellent draft as well from a Will McClay and company. Then you got 2021 and you're looking at the Micah Parsons draft, Kelvin Joseph in round 2, Osa Odigizua round 3, that's a hit. Chauncey Golston, that's a hit. Israel Mukuamu in the 6th round, and he looks like he can play ball a little bit. So I would consider that a hit as far as him being a depth piece. So even in this draft, you get even more amazing players. And this is the draft. Remember, they traded back a little bit and still ended up coming away with Micah Parsons. I think anytime you pick a player like a Micah Parsons, you hit on that, and then you add in an Osa Odigizua and Chauncey Golston into that same draft, look what he did for the defensive line just in the 2021 draft. I know the defensive line is still a weak point, but all the good players came from one draft, and Will McClay had a huge part of that. Then you go to 2020. You look at CeeDee Lamb, Trevon Diggs, Neville Gallimore, Tyler Biotish. all of those guys are still in the league and playing at a decently high level, maybe outside of Neville Gallimore, but everyone else, those were hits. Again, that is an amazing draft from Will McClay to bring in a CeeDee Lamb and Trevon Diggs, knowing what those guys have done since then, breaking franchise records. 2019 was another one of those drafts that's kind of like, yeah, with the top pick being a Tristan Hill, but that year we didn't have a round 1 pick, so that was just a weird year anyways. But yeah, man, for the most part, Will McClay has done an excellent job with drafting. Now, have there been maybe 2 or 3 seasons where we didn't have the best draft class and we really don't have any players left over from those draft classes? Absolutely, but in large part, Will McClay has been pivotal in supplying the Cowboys with the level of talent that they have had. Not just that, going out and looking for those undrafted guys. Looking for guys like a Josh Butler or Kevontae Turpin or some of these other guys. I'm sure Will McClay and his scouting department played a large part of that as well. So the point here being, a lot of the positive things that have happened for the Cowboys. I know, it's been 30 years, we got rid of Jimmy. Ha! All the positive things that have happened for the Cowboys, man, have been on the back or have had Will McClay's hands involved in it in some sort of fashion. So this is an absolute win for Cowboys fans, and we should all be excited that we got however many more years of Big Willie in office, and we still them same old Cowboys.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still them boys.